I would like to call this regular session for the meeting of the Bath County School Board to order on December 14th, 2023 at 7 o'clock p.m. Item number 2, discussion and possible action on tonight's agenda. I have an item to discuss before we go any further. On the agenda, we have forgotten to put public comments. So we're going to do, if there are any public comments, and I don't know if there is, but we'll find out. If there's any public comments, we'll do them as part of this discussion and possible action after we have voted on the agenda. Is there any other comments about tonight's agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept tonight's agenda with the addition of an item for public comments.
Motion's been made by Brenda and seconded by Carla. Is there any further discussion of this item? If there's no further discussion of this item, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion carries 5-0. And as part of item number 2, at this time, if there's any public comments, we will have them come forward and speak. It appears there are no public comments. So item number 3, Pledge of Allegiance and silent devotion. At this moment, we'll take just a moment here to have a silent devotion. Thank you all. Item number 4, Student Spotlight, Crossroads Elementary.
All right, guys, we've got a couple of really great students here for you tonight. They're going to share some essays that they wrote, and they are competing or have competed to be the legislative page for our school. We chose them because, we chose these students because they had an opportunity to kind of do the inverse of what Mr. Hale has done with us for the last several years. He's come out and he has participated in the Principal for a Day program through the LRC. He comes into the building, he meets with students, he talks with teachers, spends the day with the staff. And so what these students are going to have the opportunity to do is to actually go to Frankfort and to page for him. So they're going to get to see what his job is like for a day. This is put on by our Frisky, so it's also a great way to highlight the things that they do in our community that are kind of beyond backpack programs, beyond Angel Tree, that really encompass all those community agencies and the opportunities they give to all kids. So we've got 3 really wonderful candidates. Not only are they top-notch students, but they also work within our school every day. Ms. Brianna Rudd has been one of our pledge leaders. She comes up, does the pledge on the intercom in the morning, leads the whole school in that. Nolan regularly leads his STLP club in helping out the substitutes for the day. They go around, they make sure everybody has access to all of the dismissal documents so that everything goes smoothly and everyone gets home safely. And then Miss Emmeline is quite often a student worker for a 2nd grade classroom, and she goes in and she's like a little teacher's assistant for them. So we're going to let them share. They were our finalists for the contest. Miss Emmeline was our overall winner, so she will actually get to go down and serve as a page for the day. So they're going to share their essays with you, and we're going to start off with Miss Brianna Rudd. Oh, sorry, Nolan's first. I changed my mind. You were sitting in the first seat.
Hi. Why I, Nolan Cole McNabb, should be 5th grade representative for Crossroads Elementary. Representing Crossroads Elementary at the Capitol as a legislative page would be the highlight of my 5th grade year. Throughout our recent discussions on U.S. history and our leaders, I have become interested in our government system. This experience as a page will let me see how our government works. One reason I would be a good choice to go to the state capitol is because I would like to learn more about the government. In addition to learning about our government in school, I realize that it's important in my everyday life. The past 2 years, I have really been interested in our government. Over the years, I have discussed the elections and watched them with my family. I went to the polling place with my parents and kept asking them who they voted for. As a result, I know how important it is to vote and to have a voice in our government. On a personal note, I'm aware of our state representative, David Hale. I met Representative Hale at last year's open house. It was there that my father told me that he played softball against Mr. Hale years ago. My granddad also played softball with him. In the last year, I realized that David cared about the people that he represents when he came to the funerals of my granddad and both of my aunts. Another reason I'd be a good choice to go to the state capitol is because at my school, Crossroads Elementary, I am considered a leader by others. I'm a 5th grade student and my peers voted me class president this year. In addition, my teachers call me a leader. This year, I had the chance to help my cross-country team grow by recruiting a leader. My coach, Robin Toll, asked me if I could help her pass out flyers at open house and ask anyone if they wanted to start a running career. It worked just like she told me it would. We actually had enough to make a boys and a girls team. In this essay, I told you about my leadership, my interest in government, and my personal notes. So as you can see, this is why I think I should be the 5th grader who should go to the state capitol as a representative at Crossroads Elementary School.
All right, now Miss Brianna Rudd.
Hello. I think I should be the Crossroads Elementary School legislative page. First, I think I should be the Crossroads Elementary School legislative page because I have a high intelligence quotient. Second, I think that I should be the Crossroads Elementary School legislative page because I have experience working with farms, technology, and yards. Third, I think I should be the Crossroads Elementary School legislative page because I can move fast. First, I think I should be the Crossroads Elementary School legislative page because I have a high intelligence quotient. I have a history of straight A's. I am on the CES academic team, and I am in the gifted and talented program. This skill could help by solving problems quickly. Second, I think I should be the Crossroads Elementary School legislative page because I have experience working with farms, technology, and yard work. I am on the Student Technology Leadership Program. I have mowed yards, and my papa owns a farm that I help him with sometimes. This skill could help with technology, farm, and yard issues. Third, I think I should be the Crossroads Elementary School legislative page because I can move fast. I play softball, I did cross country, and I did competitive cheer. This could help by getting a drink or whatever needed, getting there swiftly. So as you can see, I think I should be the Crossroads Elementary School legislative page.
And finally, Miss Emmeline Butcher.
Why should you pick... Hi, everybody. Why should you pick me to be a legislative page to represent Crossroads Elementary School? You should pick me to be a legislative page because I am interested in the inner working of the government. I want to benefit Kentucky, and I also want to have a first-hand experience of completing a job with political input. First, I should be a page because I am interested in the inner working of the government. I want to research it more. One reason I want to research it more is that I am considering many careers in politics, and this experience would allow me to figure out several career choices I prefer. Second, I should be a page because I want to benefit Kentucky. For example, the cost of medication, specifically insulin. I know this because I am a type 1 diabetic. Even with insurance, the prices are outrageous. So I would like to see a law made saying that you can't charge so much for medication. Third, I should be a page because I want to have a first-hand experience of completing a job with political input. For example, I can see what the representative has input on and what they don't, seeing what decisions they help make and what they don't have say on. Therefore, I should be the legislative page, all because I am interested in the inner working of government, want to benefit Kentucky, and also want to have a first-hand experience of completing a job that requires political input. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. As you can see on the screen, Representative Hale did stop to meet with the students after our legislative breakfast. He did spend about 30 minutes with them, congratulated each of them, and really encouraged them to pursue some careers in politics and with civics and government. So we hope you all enjoyed their essays. We're super proud of these kids.
Thank you all. If you all could come up on the stage, we'll get your picture made. Is that okay with you all?
Thank you, Crossroads, for coming tonight, and it's our next generation of politicians. Item number 5, Superintendent and Board Communication.
For Superintendent Communication this evening, I'll be very brief. I just want to say, as we head into the Christmas break, I just want to say how much I appreciate all our staff and the hard work they've put into this semester. I support and honor their efforts to give our students the best educational experience possible, and their hard work and dedication does not go unnoticed, and I'm truly thankful to be a part of such a great group of people. So I want to wish all our staff a very Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Okay. Item number 6, discussion and possible action approving the following items. A, November 20th, 2023 minutes. B, November financial statement. C, claims. D, superintendent expenditures. E, travel. F, use of facilities. G, grant. H, review of all monthly financial reports of all funds. I, pay bills through December 31st, 2023. And J, University of Cumberland Option 9 MOU.
I'll just briefly say I won't cover what we normally cover in the working session. We'll just point out in travel, there are 2 items on there that are overnight or out of state. The boys basketball tournament. We're wanting to go to Pikeville, spend a few days, and the BCH Beta in January 17th of 2024 is going to the convention in Lexington, Kentucky. Ask you to approve that. And the only other item I'll discuss is the Option 9 University of the Cumberland's MOU. We already have an Option 9 program with EKU, but we have an instructional assistant that has asked if we could do one for the Cumberlands. Option 9 program is simply instructional assistants can go to an Option 9 approved program. It doesn't cost the district anything, and they can, while they're working, they can get their teaching certificate. It's at a faster pace, and the only thing that we really have to do on our end is allow them a little bit of free time to go and observe some classes. And so that's simply what Option 9 Cumberland's MOU is. That's all for the I have there.
I'll make the motion to approve 6A through 6J.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Carla and seconded by Brenda. Is there any further discussion of this item? If there is no further discussion, then all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 7 is discussion and approval of the Bath County High School renovation BG 22-376.
Mr. Ruiz from Ross Tarrant Architects and Mr. Rhodes from Pax Walker will present.
Good evening. I'll give you an update on the high school and then the technology center, the Chenault building. But work completed is above ceiling inspections was completed by the state building inspector for Area C, and that's the first floor hallway. We've completed all demolition in the media center. That's where we've been spending a lot of our time. It's on that media center. And we installed the rough-in plumbing, the sprinkler lines in the media center. And we finished the roof, but we are waiting on some metal panels and some metal flashings. And then the roof inspection to follow. And then for the next month, next 25 days, we'll finish the duct in the media center. Well, primarily, we're going to be spending most of their time in the media center trying to wrap that up. Not sure if we're going to make it when school opens, but that's the plan when you come back. And but we'll be close. But so that's going to be their focus for the next month. And then also during that time, during Christmas break, we've got a lot of catching up to do on the areas that we have opened. They're not completely finished, so we're trying to catch up, such as installing some lights in some of the classrooms, making some ceiling tile repairs, grid repairs, got a little sheetrock to install, some painting, touch-up painting. Some of those things that we just had to leave behind so we could get the classrooms open. So we're going to try to catch up during the Christmas break to get all those items caught up. And then on the LAVEC vocational, the Chenault building, that we've done quite a bit of work over there in the last month. We got duct work in the classroom areas are completed. The metal stud framing is completed. Electrical rough end is 75%. The above ceiling duct and pipe installation is 100%. We had some masonry repairs. They've been completed. The geothermal piping is 90%. The rooftop curbs, sprinkler rough end, they're all 100%. Sheetrock is 100%. Ceiling grid is 95% complete. Painting the walls, that's almost complete. And that's in the classroom areas. That's where we're concentrating. Again, in the classroom areas. And the schedule for the next 16 to 25 days, is to primarily turn over the room 010, that's the horticulture, or, you know, the lab that we want to make sure we have that open so they can begin their planning. And so that will be open. And then hopefully we'll continue the finish painting in other areas, above ceiling inspections by the building inspector. We did flush the geothermal lines, and the manufacturer there, the units are beginning to turn on. They're getting those energized, and in the classroom areas. And install all ceiling tiles and inspections, finish classroom painting, and we'll be installing lights. As far as the doors, we've got a delivery issue. Hopefully they will be in sometime toward the latter part of the month. Ceramic tile, hopefully that'll be installed. We got some flooring we're going to start, I think, next week, and install door hardware. Some of that's already been installed, and then we'll do the testing and balancing on the mechanical system, on the HVAC system. And I think that's, I know it gives you an idea of what's going on. A lot of work going on. And again, I always say, if there's any issues with the staff or administration, please let us know. But I think it's going pretty good. In these renovation projects, we like to call it controlled chaos. You know, we're doing demolition. Right behind them, we're coming back and doing renovation. But we try to keep it in a controlled environment. So it's a lot of activity, a lot of moving parts taking place during this time. So I'll entertain any questions, or you can, maybe after Jonathan has his comments.
I'm gonna ask a question real quick, because it may be for both of you. What's the timeline on becoming full 100% geothermal?
Switching over to the geothermal.
Yeah.
That's true.
And this is just a guesstimate.
It depends on which building we're talking about. If we're talking high school, LAVEC, or I guess the Chenault building, I think that it's safer to say that the actual Chenault building would be turned on sooner, because the goal would be to start to occupy that before the high school project gets completed. I can't quite commit to that they both, high school and the Chenault building, would be turned on at the same time. Definitely the goal would be to turn it over when it's able to be fully conditioned, and not when it's bitterly cold and ultimately putting you on a predicament where the heating isn't working. So we'll wait for it to be safe enough to do that transition, but there's no target date yet until we can confirm that there's no issue with actually transferring it over. But for sure, the intent would be to put the Chenault first, because it will be ready to be occupied and conditioned before the high school can be ready to truly transition over. So a non-answer, but
That's exactly why I asked, because it would be concerning to try this brand new system in the middle of January.
right.
So, but we are able to bring on one system and not the whole system at one time. That'll work.
Correct.
Like if we bring on just the Chenault building.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Already, like fully.
Well, that's,
Okay.
well, the classroom.
But ultimately, we'll make sure that for the high school, especially since it's phased, that once everything is safe for the winter time to truly transition over, then the whole building will get plugged in, and no issues will happen. So my two notes, specifically about the high school, I wanted to update you all on, is I'm not sure in the past if I've mentioned that there have been two observed areas of roof leaks at the classroom side of the building. I bring that up to your attention because in the project, the only roof that's getting replaced is the gym. I do know that the age of the roof of the classroom wings are to the point where they could get replaced. They are not getting replaced currently, and as ceiling tiles get installed, we will take note of where leaks are happening, and we'll determine where there are leaks from a pipe that can get fixed and ultimately make sure the ceiling looks good, versus areas that are from the roof, and ultimately figure out what's a good medium for making the ceiling look good, but also finding a way to resolve the roof. Ultimately, it can't be on the contractor to address the roof if it's not in their contract. So it's not to the point where there's a waterfall happening, but we have found instances of reoccurring water spots that I wanted to bring to your attention. And then we'll keep an eye on them, but it is 2 locations, and they're at the very far end of the building, one on a lower roof and one on like the true tall 2-story roof section. So we'll keep you updated on if it becomes a true concern, but just wanted to make you aware of that one. Secondly, I wanted to make sure that you know that we discussed pricing a storefront replacement idea, and that has been being priced by the contractor. I just don't have an update for what that price is yet. It does not hold up construction because part of that process will be to remove the storefront, and ultimately you wouldn't want to do that now in the wintertime because then you're basically just losing all your heat. So the plan is to still have a price for you by January, and then if the price is acceptable to you all as a group, then the goal would be to start that work in the summertime, so it doesn't impact security, it doesn't impact overall temperament control of the building, and then ultimately part of the work is to do concrete, and you don't want to do concrete in the wintertime. So it's not an issue of scheduling, but it's still in the works to get pricing to you all. It just isn't here today, and I wanted to make sure that you knew that it's still on our radar. I just want to make sure that we have it for you in a timely manner and that it's a well thought out, comprehensive price.
Will the board be able to lock that price in? And what I mean is, we know in January the cost of something's going to be different than the
Oh,
cost.
yeah, so once the board approves that price, like that is the price what it is.
Okay.
And then from there, if it's scheduled to work in the summertime, the price doesn't change just because the work started later.
And on our agenda items, number 7 is for a net add of $2712 for additional lighting fixtures. That's PR9.
Okay.
Can you just explain what that is?
Yeah. We weren't sure if that was truly spelled out in your packet of what is.
I usually have a rationale, but I wasn't. Other than what I just told you is all
Okay.
I could deduct from.
Ultimately, that is a change order proposal for the high school project. And what happened was the contractor, when they were starting to do their lighting upgrades, they found 2 lights that were missed in the counts of the overall building. And clearly the intent is to make sure that everything gets upgraded in terms of lights. And those 2 lights are right next to the cafeteria, ultimately. The price there is just under $3,000 just to make sure that those 2 lights get updated as everything else. And it was a discovery that the contractor brought to our attention, that those 2 were not included in the overall replacement piece. That's really the context for what that is for.
And then on 8, there's going to be a credit for $4,379. It says exhaust fans to
Correct.
remain.
So the lighting one is high school related, while the other line item for exhaust fans is for the Chenault building. So unfortunately, while there's an ad for just under $3,000 for lights to get upgraded, we did sharpen our pencils and make sure that we could find a way to kind of offset that. And a way to do that was to no longer replace the exhaust fans at the Chenault building, because they're going to get ultimately capped off because they're not needed for a lot of the building to function with the geothermal connection. To save some money and offset that ad, the exhaust fans stay. They get repainted. They'll look nice and new on top or on the building themselves, but they just will not get removed and replaced with some louvers. So yes, the net credit would be for about $4,400, while the net add for the high school project is just under $3,000.
It's fine. I just want the board to know what they're voting for.
Yes.
There's one other thing in there. It's very minor,
Mhm.
but I saw it today, so I'm not sure who to take it to. But L.E. Gregg,
Yes,
they came and did the the high school and the LAVEC.
correct.
No issue.
No issue.
I'm only talking $45, but they charged mileage twice. Is that?
Correct. So I think they split their mileage in half because it's one for each project ultimately. So the main point is I think.
So it's accurate, that's all?
Yes, correct. It's
Okay,
accurate.
thank
And
you.
I think I mentioned the last time this came up in front of the board that this was already a pre-approved board proposal of a total of, let's say, about $26,000. And then, so now they're just invoicing for every single visit they make against that maximum amount. So it's not an additional charge to the district. It's just as they make their visits, they're invoicing for their time to assess the materials, to make their reports to make sure that all the work is performing to the specs. And in this context, I believe that was for the inspection of some concrete work, and they could do some air conditioning work, but ultimately it's for anything that gets hidden in the ground or anything that needs to be tested to make sure that it meets any specification requirements by
Well,
third
my
party.
only thing was you only make one trip.
Correct.
But if they're splitting the mileage, that's
Yes,
in
I mean-
charge, putting it on half and half, that's,
Yes, I noticed when they wanted to start invoicing, they wanted to combine everything at once because it's on one campus, and I was like, no, let's make sure we track which one's for what project, and to do that, they split it in half. Mhm.
Let me ask one more thing.
Sure.
It doesn't cover item number 7, but I know you two guys will probably leave. Give me just a quick update on the renditions for the middle school.
Oh, yes. So for that, the plan is to have a final draft rendering by middle January, because I know the goal would be to have something ready by February. My only question for the board is there are previous drafts that we can have available to you, but they will not look like a final image until mid-January. I could offer a sneak peek of what that looks like to make sure it meets your vision and your goal. Just know it won't be a final version, and clearly stuff evolves over time. So end goal timeline will be ready by mid-January for the final image for that endeavor.
I'm gonna speak on behalf of myself. I would love to see a sneak peek,
Okay,
and I'm sure maybe the rest of the board would like to see it too,
okay.
so.
I can find a way to, I know the next board meeting is probably, is there one scheduled yet?
It's late. It's late in the month. I think it's, I looked at it today, it's very late. It's like the 28th or 29th. It's very late.
And I know the final one will be ready by mid-January, so I can try to aim to have something to you by the end of the year as like a midpoint to
Okay.
see where things look like. It won't have full materials or like, everything wow factor, but it will have the
I realize
idea.
that, yeah.
But yes, we can have a draft for you when we have something developed by closer to the end of the year.
Okay. Hold up, one second.
Okay.
David, one thing about the high school, are we still on track for the project, the drainage project out front for this summer?
Well, we're waiting on the, I mean, I was gonna talk, okay, good. I was gonna ask him after this where we were on the,
You're talking
on the
about
design.
stormwater?
Stormwater, yes.
Okay, so the design team has a plan to have those documents ready for Pax Walker to bid out the work by early spring, with the plan to actually have the work start in the summer. Reason being, you have to close down part of the road,
Yes.
and we don't want that to impact traffic. So starting in the summer, I don't think there's an idea for how long it would take, but we do feel like it's a summer project, so it doesn't impact the start of school or the end of school, in terms of time-wise. But the documents will be ready for Pax Walker to bid out and get a number for the board to approve. Tentatively, I would say safely April and May. That way, contracts can be ready to go and started by the summer.
As soon as possible, please.
Yes.
Because yes, there's a lot of work there to do in one summer, so we want to give the contractor as much time as possible to get it completed so that we can get school back, get paved, whatever paving will be necessary, and get the buses rolling and the students rolling on time. That's just a big concern, so.
We can get it bid out sooner. The challenge is the board comfortable with finding a way to route traffic to where it doesn't utilize that back road, or I guess the parking lot road here that would have to get shut down. If there's a way to plan ahead for that, that would allow us to start sooner. Otherwise, we don't want to take a gamble and then ultimately it complicate overall traffic for the school. So that's why we're aiming for summer. But if there's a way to plan accordingly for that, that would help get it done sooner.
I think, controlling traffic is extremely hard. Everybody gets set in their, pattern. I think it would be best, probably to try to start at least, like the day after school's out.
Right.
Something like that, or the week after, something like that.
Sorry, yeah. So
I don't think we want to reroute the traffic.
Okay, yeah. So when I say summer, that's what I mean. Like as soon as school lets out, or maybe the week of the final week of school, then that's when we would recommend starting the construction of that.
Okay.
And then we would sequence bidding and getting contracts in line for the board approval to be early spring, so that way all the ducks are in a row.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so item 7 there, all we need now is a motion and a second on that to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve the Bath County High School renovation, BG number 22-376.
I second that. Motion's been made by Carla and seconded by John. Is there any further discussion of this item? If there's no further discussion of this item, all those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 8, discussion and approval of the Bath Layvac Phase 2 BG 22-520.
I'll make the motion to approve the Bath Layvec Phase 2 BG 22-520.
I second.
Motion's been made by Brenda and seconded by Barbara. Is there any further discussion of this item? If there's no further discussion, then all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 9, discussion and possible action on approving the calendar committee.
Our DPP, Ms. Watkins, has conducted a vote of the district for the calendar committee members, and this is simply asking that the board approve that committee so they may start work on the next year's calendar.
Barbara, you remember, you're the,
Yes. Yes, I'm part of that.
we voted you, so.
I'll
That's-
make a motion to approve the calendar committee as presented.
The motion's been made by Brenda and seconded by Carla. Is there any further discussion of this item? If there's no further discussion, then all those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 10, discussion and possible action on approving the fiscal year 2025 draft budget.
Ms. Combs is unable to be here this evening, and so for the rationale, this is what she wanted me to share with the board. The draft budget is the first look at the following fiscal year's finances. There are many unknowns at the time the draft is completed. The draft budget is modified when the tentative budget is prepared for the board and KDE approval in May, at which time the district has a lot more information about SEEK allocations, etc. The FY25 draft budget has been prepared based on May 2023 staffing allocations, estimated beginning balance to be $6.3 million, estimated SEEK revenue at $8.6 million, with a contingency of $825,000 or 3.71%. We will keep you informed of any information received from KDE regarding funding throughout the year. So she's just asking this time that we approve the FY25 draft budget.
Motion's been made by Carla and seconded by John. Is there any further discussion on this item? I do have a little bit of discussion on this item. Just as a reminder to the board, this is the beginning draft for next year's budget. Nothing in this budget is locked in, you know, there's a lot of things that are gonna change. It's our first look, our first draft of it, and we will work on this budget every month from now until June. And there will be changes probably made in June at the last minute. So, some things that stuck out to me, and Ms. Combs is not here to, you know, agree or disagree with me, but I think that one thing that's says a whole lot about our district right now fiscally is we are proposing a 3.71% contingency. Mr. Evans, I know you've only been here 3 years, but we've never had 3.71, right? We've never been that high, I don't think.
Not since I've been here, I don't think.
That is a sign of a district that is watching their money closely. And we are doing the right things with our money. I know sometimes it's said that we are haphazardly using our money, but the state only requires 2%. And we are now at 3.17. We proposed at 3.71. I think that's a good thing, and I'm very proud of that number. Now, it may change between now and June, but I was very proud to see that number. So, any other discussion about the first draft budget? If there's no further discussion, then all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
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 Yes. All those opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 11, other business. Is there any comments? Any other business? Sure.
I had a question for the board. I had been notified by the county clerk that with the upcoming proposed nickel tax, that the school would be responsible for payment for this special election. And he gave me a KRS that quoted what he supposed was true, but there was a line in that that said that the school had the option of paying for this special election to be held within 35 days, no more than 35 days after the vote was certified, and no more than 45 days, which would put this election the way he proposed it between January 26th and February the 6th. But I've also contacted and asked questions, and I think, if I'm right, this special election is the option of the school. And if we opt to not have this special election in January, then it goes to the general election in November. Am I correct in this, Shelley? So that's just what I was opening up for discussion.
Ms. Razor, I have that right here. and exactly what you're talking about. The part that was quoted says, "The District Board of Education may cause to be submitted to the voters of the district in a called common school election," that's your special election, "not less than 35 nor more than 45 days from the date the signatures on the petition are validated by the clerk," and here's the catcher, what you just said, "or at the next regular election at the option of the District Board of Education." So I'm 100% agreement with you. I think it's very clear. It is the board's option, and so that would be on the November election. The only thing Ms. Williams and I may need to discuss, it says regular election. I believe that is November. I do know some people have tried to do May's. That's something we'd have to look into, but this board has the option to do special election or regular election. And anyone who is interested that is watching the video or present, it is KRS 132.017, recall petition, and that section is 3B.
I have discussed this with most of the board, I think all the board. Eric's not here tonight, and this is not, we're not gonna vote on anything, we're just discussing. But it seems like the opinion of the board is that we don't want a special election. So, I don't know that that is, exactly the opinion of the board, but that's what I've pretty much heard. One of the things I said in the tax hearing, is that I would prefer it to go to the people and not just the 5 of us. And if it's in the general election, I think it's a lot more fair. I feel like if we try to do a special election, and I know there's a lot of districts who do that, but in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, I feel like you're trying to slip something past the county, and I don't want to slip anything past the county. I want it to be fair and square. They either decide to say yes or no, and we're going to go with whatever they say. So I hope that there's nothing that gets forced on us as a special election, because according to the law, I don't think it can be forced on us. So, and we would have to pay for it as a special election, and I don't think we want to spend our budgeted money on special elections. But anyways, that's just my thoughts about it. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
Yes, what my main concern was, I don't want the school district to be out $30,000, $35,000, $40,000 on a special election. It's not going to make any difference if it goes to the general election in November or have a special election, and I don't want to see anybody have to spend that money to pay for that. That's my main objective.
I agree 100%. So. Any other discussion on that particular item? Okay. I'd say probably we just need Mr. Evans and Shelley to pay close attention to that particular item. We have not received a certified petition yet, is that correct?
No, sir. He has, the county clerk has 30 days to validate the petition. We're about halfway through that validation process, and he has not notified us that has been validated at this time.
Okay. All right. Any other comments about anything else? Yeah, there is one more item. We don't have to, yeah, well, we probably do need to decide it tonight. Moving forward, the way we advertise our meetings, right at the top of the agenda, where it says Board of Education regular meeting, December 14, 2023, 7 o'clock p.m., Bath County High School auditorium. we had a situation this evening where Eric couldn't be here because of work, but he wanted to try to come in remotely. And because we had advertised it, the way we advertised it, without the access to remote, we couldn't let him do it. And I hate that, because it's all because of basically one line on the advertisement. What my question to the board is, moving forward, starting in January, do we want to add that line to the advertisement every month? So in case there's that situation, the board member can join the meeting no matter what. And if everybody agrees, then it's pretty much just a simple, tell Mr. Evans, he tells Christie, and from now on, it'll be advertised that way.
I think that's great.
Okay. Just gives us the option, it's a backup plan in case something happens. That way, if the person really wants to be at the meeting, but for something pops up they can't, they still can remotely, so, okay?
And then the only caveat, Ms. Williams will back me up on this, I'm not against it nor for it, that's all I'm gonna say. If the person who is streaming in loses their internet connection, that meeting,
Is over.
and so I would strongly advise, like, if you've got something that 100%, like a tax hearing, has to go through that night, you might want to consider that, just whether you would do it that night or not, just in case you had any issues.
Yeah, that's correct, because if it's a virtual meeting, that individual board member has to be seen and heard at all times, and then the meeting would be suspended until you have reconnected with that, which could be, some of a disruption, but
Let's
possibility.
add one thing to this, just to make sure that we have this clear going forward. Let's say we have a meeting and we have an executive session. That member needs to be in that executive session, correct? So we'll have to be set up electronically where we're having executive session so that that person can be part of that. Okay. Because I would look at, if they weren't in the executive session, that's just, it's the same as losing, signal. They've- Okay, any other items for this December meeting? Do we need to vote? Or can I just tell them? I'll just tell you the direction. I just want to take a moment real quick before we close out as part of other business and wish all of our employees, all the teachers, all the certified, classified students, board, administration, everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, be safe in the time you're off, enjoy the time you're off, and we'll come back in January. Remember, January is a very late meeting next month. I don't foresee any reason for a special call meeting in January, so we're going to be off for 5 weeks away from meetings, so, okay. All right, so item number 12, adjourn.
Second.
Oh, so I got to make the motion?
We made the motion.
Okay. Motion's been made by John and seconded by Brenda. Is there any further discussion of this item? If there's no further discussion, then all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion carries 5-0. We are adjourned at 7:54 p.m.